You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week I get on Zoom and I connect to the other side of the world, to Myanmar, and I talk with Lethwei instructor Saya Win Zin Oo. We talk about how he got involved in martial arts, how the sport of Lethwei functions, both as a team sport and individual fighting sport, the differences between Lethwei and other Southeast Asian sport kickboxing, what Saya Win hopes to see for the future of Lethwei, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and this is the premiere of Season 3, and I've got a really interesting guest today because I think this is the farthest I've connected on Zoom. I'm talking all the way to Southeast Asia. I'm connected to Myanmar, and I'm talking with, I'm going to call him by his title, which is Saya, and his name is Win Zin Oo, and he is a Lethwei coach there. He's not only my Lethwei coach, but Lethwei coach of Guru Dan Inosanto, which is kind of how I came to be connected with him. And I think this is going to be a really fascinating show for a lot of you listening. You're going to learn a lot about kind of an art that's somewhat mysterious to us here in the United States. So welcome, Saya Win. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tim.
Well, I certainly appreciate you getting up early your time. Well, I guess it's like first thing in the morning, your time to talk with us. It's interesting to be able to, with the technology now, to literally reach out to the other side of the world. But you're no stranger to Zoom because you do a lot of teaching on Zoom.
Yeah, I did because I think the COVID pushed me to do something,
Right.
to communicate people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's great that can be done. And I guess I should give a shout out too. So there was a program that's on Netflix, and the name is escaping me, but you're on one of the episodes, on the Lethwei episode of it, where and it's really cool. So this was pre-COVID lockdown, I think, right?
Yeah. The Netflix, it was shot before the COVID lockdown, but
Right.
I'm not pretty sure it is published or disseminated during lockdown or before lockdown. I think before lockdown.
Yeah. And it's a neat series that they have on different martial arts, and Lethwei is one of them. And they have like Senegalese wrestling and boxing in Mexico and stuff. But but I'll grab the name of that and put that in the description below, because I watched it. I really thought it was really good, and it's cool. They follow a fighter who is he American or Australian? Western fighter though, Western guy.
I think in fact. The way they involved me is they came here together with a movie star called Frank Grillo, and a sort of interacting with him.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's an actor.
Helping him in his exploration about Lethwei, like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a really cool show, because people get to see not only the sport, but they get to see your gym and the way you train, and it's really kind of a nice piece. And I want to say congratulations for being on that, because that's pretty good exposure, really.
Thank you very much.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in all this. So I'm guessing Letway is like a national sport, like something that maybe kids that are looking to be fighters or aspire to in Myanmar, this is something they would look to do when they were little. Is that kind of the case with you?
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a sport, fighting arts, but it's been what may I use the word enshrined into the culture of Myanmar
Hmm.
as the national sport, national fighting arts, and it is popular across the country, but it is uh, I think incorporated into the culture, especially in Cayenne and Mon State. So, yeah, when they celebrate some social and religious events, they incorporate Lethwei fights. And everyday life, they may be practicing not only to fight, but to uh, participate in the real fight, but also for fun, like
Hmm.
that. So, yeah. So I I like Lethwei, but before uh, I met Lethwei when I was young, I my grandfather was a Lethwei fighter. He was a young, uh, I would say from the rural area and the
Hmm.
farmer like that. I was not that impressed when I was very young because we have a lot of influence of other foreign martial arts, which are very good,
Oh,
like that.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, but at my teenage, I was introduced that way by my grandpa, and at first I don't think it is an effective martial art, but by and by, I I came come across. I visited to his village, and I spar it, and I started feeling, oh, it's a real martial arts, very practical,
Hmm.
down to earth martial arts, like that. So yeah, that's how I was introduced naturally.
But I would say put right into, as I think we would say in America, you got right into the frying pan. You jumped right into the frying
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like a puppy kick into the pool, swimming pool. We don't like.
pan. Exactly.
Eh, yeah, at that time, I know how to punch, how to protect, how to kick, how to block up to an extent about other martial arts. That's it, the foreign martial arts are really good. Like, but when I had to spar with my grandpa, I was a youngster. He was very old, but I started thinking, he is not a match for me like that. I don't know what he is doing like that. It's totally unpredictable. In addition to that, he is a farmer. At the age about 70 years old, he is still uh, on his farm, okay, as a
Wow.
farmer. So the naturally his work demands physical strength, okay,
Right.
naturally. Okay, that's how I was first introduced into Lethwei.
Wow. So then, how did you? What made you decide to stay with it to the point of coaching it out, or did you compete as well?
Not really, but in the village level fights, I competed because I at that time uh, I was attending school, and only the only reason I competed in the village level fights is due to I feel very stressful when my mother passed away. That's one thing,
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
second thing is I need some money. So I was not totally professional. Uh, and when I uh, was graduated, I had to join a sort of engineering department, and I didn't get much time to to fight to because fighting we need a lot of dedication and we need to be centered at a place. But everywhere I go, I practice. I practice what I got from my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And at some times like that, I started changing. Maybe 2 years in the engineering field, I started. I better, if I can do anything, I better train somebody as my. Yeah, can we use the word prodigy? Okay,
Yeah, of
to
course.
do
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, to do something in Lethwei, and who is in the world of martial arts as a professional fighter,
Mm-hmm.
trying to be a professional fighter. So I started teaching that person and training that person, like that, starting one person, two persons. Like that's how I was involved in the training and coaching field of Lethwei. At that
I
time,
see.
I think many Myanmar people, including Myanmar people, especially educated citizens, they don't think too high of Lethwei. Yeah, yeah. Lethwei is an art of the country boys, countrymen.
Ah,
Like that. So,
okay.
in the course of 30 or 40 years, Lethwei has been changed up to a certain extent, and even uh, some foreigners know that Lethwei, oh, and they are surprised how effective it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting. I was, it was something I was going to kind of ask you about, and you sort of answered it already, where it's sort of there's like a not necessarily a class issue, but educated versus not type, and that was considered something more for the uneducated person per se. And it's like it's not that much different in America. I mean, it's like if you're getting ready to go to school, college, your parents don't want you to go become a boxer and use your head for a punching bag for somebody else. They want you to, put some knowledge in it and become a doctor or a lawyer or something.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
not uncommon. So
yeah.
that's interesting, and I know that you have a high level of education. You were an engineer by trade.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was civil
yeah.
engineer.
So I mean, it's an interesting balance, and I like that in martial artists. People like Guru Dan obviously has a master's degree, so say his background is in education. You've got a high level education. Then our mutual friend Dr. Pat Finley obviously is a very educated person too, and there's something that I kind of really like about that combination of someone who's got some real education and intelligence to him, but also can throw a pretty good elbow.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm lucky that to meet such highly decorated persons as my links, like that they can
Right.
understand my view of my love to martial art. At the same time, my thinking as a sort of a person who is privileged to have some sort of education.
Yeah, yeah. Do you find that training or thoughts or the thought process that you use for engineering, do you find that influencing your methodology as far as training
Oh,
people in the
of course. I think when engineering is we use engineering as well as the management that I learned because I attended a management course after that, like that. So
Mhm.
combination of those learnings and incorporating into Lethwei. But I need to understand most of the Lethwei fighters, they are not highly educated.
Mhm.
95%. So I need to put myself into their shoe like that. Okay. For example, they may maybe, but I think it is very unfair to conclude that they don't have fight IQ. They are fighting,
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah, because they need to fight survival, survival.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some very educated people they know how to do that, but they don't have the courage to do that, like that. So,
Right.
so anyway, I started using the thinking, the logic. I understand the force. I don't understand the movement,
Mhm.
displacement, like that. So sometimes I use those things to to improve my fighters and to
Hmm.
for my consideration for my imagination of fighting systems. Like, yeah, I want to admit that.
Interesting. And so, at what point did coaching this, like as a almost a kind of serious part time or full time endeavor, when did that become something for you?
I have to say I was not anytime I was not a full-time coach.
But at
Because
least seriously part time.
yeah, full-time mean that I depend on the in Myanmar level interpretation. I
Right.
depend on the income from that. I can depend on the income from that sector like that. I cannot depend 100% on the
Well,
income
Saya Win in
because
America, full time just means you're putting 40 hours a week in on it.
uh, Uh, in that case, I'm thinking about the techniques and about the fights, even when I'm sleeping and dreaming.
Really?
Yeah. So I think around I started coaching around 1980 81 82 started that's a more on the professional coaching only one fighters when I reached to one place and another place and different fighters but around 1986 I become a sort of not in terms of my time but in terms of involvement in the professional level fighting to training coach around 1986 87
Okay.
yeah so yeah, it. But I have to move from one place to another. At the time, I was a water supply engineer working with UNICEF. So I have to move from one place to another after completion of the
Oh,
construction
right.
system. I have to move to different another village, another township, like that. So those fighters who can come together with me can be trained by me like that but they have to go back sometimes I have to take leave and go to a place for competition to support my fighters and then after that I have to come back to my work site like that it is not an easy job.
No, not at all. But it sounds like a good way, some of your fighters could get a little extra physical work in. They volunteer to be part of your construction crew or something.
Exactly. So most of the time, it is a sort of gravity flow water supply project. It's a mountainous area, high mountains. So naturally, you need to be fit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I involved and training. And I train a number of fighters, and some fighters turn up as a top-notch professional fighters since that time. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
So do you when you train people, do you keep your numbers small, like you only train, say, two, three people at any given period of time, or do you train more? Like you've probably seen how we set up here in the US at the Inosanto Academy, where we'll have up to, 30 or 40 people in a class at a time, or a seminar might even be bigger.
Uh, yeah, I think most of my time, the majority of people I train, they are professional fighters. That are, I think I started teaching, more focus in teaching of no what I would say amateur and people who just want to be fit only after 2010 2010
Okay.
before that I just trained the pro fighters so I the space I have is not that big and I need to be
Hmm.
very quality focused like that so I cannot
Right.
take more than 10 fighters at a time like that if, to train 10 fighters by only by one person it is a daunting task to be
Oh, yeah.
yeah like that it's physically and mentally demanding and in our cases they are from the villages they come to my house and they sleep at my house or we have to rent a house a room near my house and they
Hmm.
live uh, there and be trained by me. So the place I have is not that big. So we have to train in the park like that. It for the standard of USA, it is quite challenging.
But it's I think it's an adventure for anyone that comes from here, to train like that. I think they feel. I remember there being a question when you were here that I think Pat and Rod were asking. They said that you had asked about the term old school and whether it meant something bad, and we're like, no, it means like hardcore, and that's how your gym had been described. And I'm like, yeah, that would be almost an attraction for a lot of people from here to go. They're like, oh man, this is like, we're going in and we're doing serious training because it doesn't have all the fancy trappings and all that. We know we're going to sweat and we're going to work, and I think that's actually attractive to at least some people from here. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So, in fact, I got the word from the Netflix came to us. I think the production company is now Matador, like that. Those people contacted me and they took the shots. And after that, when they disseminate the productions, and they sent me the links, and I started learning a new word, old school. At first, I thought that old school. Oh, okay, my gym is very shabby. The physical facilities are barely zero, like that. So I
Right.
think
Yeah.
look down on me. So at that time, when I got contact with Dr. Patrick Finlay, and I shared with him, just I'm not complaining, but I think that, yeah, I think as a countryman, I think my facilities are very shabby and it's very old. That's why they say it is an old school. And Pat enlightened me that no, in the United States, it's not that sense. It's a sort of honoring something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a lot of English phrases where they can mean one thing and they can mean the opposite thing. It all depends on how you use it.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to the Season 3 premiere with Win Zin Oo. Coming up next week, I connect to Texas and I talk with Dr. Alberto Almeida. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the Events Calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.